Love Off the Grid, now streaming on Discovery Plus. We have Charlie Moore and Jen Taylor, two of the stars of the show here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Charlie, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the concept of the show and tell us a little bit about where you currently live.
I'm currently in the Western Mountains of North Carolina, and the concept, I guess, of the show is to see if Jen, who I was with 28 years ago, and rekindled our love, to see if she can live the kind of lifestyle I live on the mountain off the grid.
Now, Jen, let's talk a little bit about you. People reconnected at his sister's wedding. What was it that he said, or what was it about seeing him again that said, you know what, I want to go ahead and give this another chance?
Honestly, it wasn't anything he said or did. It was really just, we saw each other. He's got that beaming smile. We began to laugh again. And it was like no time had passed. Honestly, we just sort of picked up, and we've always enjoyed each other's company. And I think that's sort of what started it all, started the rekindling.
What was it, when you were going to your sister's wedding, was there anything as far as like, because there's a lot of couples out there that, may rekindle, we're coming up to Valentine's Day. What's something after, all this period of time that you say, you know what, if I want to talk to this person, if I want to win this person back, do you just be your same self? Is there anything particular you should, guys should, gear up to say or to do?
No, I don't think there's anything in particular, because I was totally dead set against it. If you want to know the truth, not dead set against it, but I didn't have any plans in reference to speaking with Jen or trying to rekindle anything. So when I was helping with my sister's wedding, Jen and I were just interacting with each other. And like Jen said, it was just left off, and we started laughing and boat rides and campfires, and just that, the energy from weddings we all been to, they were the right things happened at the right time.
When you first went there, to the cabin, is that the right word, the cabin?
Well, I call it a shack.
You call it the shack.
We're in disagreement on what it's called.
What was the most shocking part, when you first walked in? Was it the size of it? Was it the location of the toilet? Was it where you were going to put your stuff? And tell us a little bit about, what was the most shocking part to you?
The most shocking part really is the toilet in the middle of the room. I mean, it's on the wall, but that just all the thoughts of, oh my gosh, it's right here. And then you start thinking, what am I going to do? How is this going to work out? That was really probably the first most shocking thing for me.
What's some advice for making something like that work?
I think that you both have to be open in reference to what you have. And, the ergonomics of the place work for pretty much one person. So two people got to really understand each other and, meet each other's needs and try to come out on top with that. So I think it's just, you got to commit to it, go for it.
Let's talk a little bit about compromise. We're coming up to Valentine's Day. There's a lot of relationships that, either might get rekindled. People are, might take that next step of either, becoming boyfriend and girlfriend or getting married or whatnot. But there's a lot of compromise, a lot of, compromise that we're learning about this show. Jen, tell us a little bit about, your advice for people who, might have something as far as like compromise. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, compromise, obviously, I think any of us in a relationship or have ever been in a relationship, we know compromise is crucial. And I think in the space that Charlie and I were sharing in the shack, it created an additional space and opportunity for compromise. And one thing that I kept reminding myself, I heard this, I don't know if I can even quote it. I heard this quote, we all know Tony Robbins, he said this years ago, and I heard it, and he said, if you can change your expectation into appreciation, it'll change your life. And that stuck out at me. And I really, honestly, because I knew it was going to be hard, and I tried to focus on what I could appreciate as opposed to, oh my gosh, this is like too much beyond, like, you know what I'm saying? My expectations of how I would live my life was not in a tiny one room with the toilet in the room, but what can I be appreciative about? And I think that mindset helps couples compromise, if we can look at what we may be grateful about.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to change your mindset on that. That's an important part. Charlie, what about for yourself?
Well, I love Jen's her inspirational quote, but a quote up there in the mountain is the big ones line up and the little ones gang up. So you got to tuck it underneath your arm and run with it. And Jen's the best at it. She is so amazing. Like, she made it really easy, and and that was the biggest thing for me. There was some hesitancy, but every time she rose above and conquered most of the time.
Well, so I mean, it was a big change. Charlie, you had mentioned that you traveled the world, you've been to other places, but this place is your home. Is there any place that you've ever visited that you're like, I could see myself living here, or whether it's by the water or a particular city or a particular location that has kind of tugged at your heart a little bit?
Great question, but in all honesty, and I'm not biased about it whatsoever. National Geographic ranks Lake Allure in my area growing up is one of the top, I think it's top 3, wouldn't quote me on that, most beautiful man-made lakes in the world. So I was raised like it's in the most beautiful country that you could be raised in. And so to answer your question, no, the only place I would live is there on the mountain.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today. Love Off the Grid, currently streaming on Discovery Plus. Can't wait to see what happens with the rest of the show. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.